Hi guys, and welcome to my review of the new film Memories of a Burning Body, directed by the Costa Rican director Antonella Sudasi Finis. This film explores the narrative of women in their 70s as they look back on their lives, their sexuality, and how their bodies have been portrayed by society and men. The film provides anonymous narratives of three separate women, Anna, Mayana, and Patricia. And these narratives combine the issues around bodies and sexualities, from the guilt-ridden religious upbringings, sexual awakenings, and domestic marriages. The narrative words are acted out by two actresses, Sol Caballo and Pauline Benini. However, the film provides a combination of the three women and their narratives to make one unified narrative, which is a social commentary on gender and sexuality throughout the last century of Costa Rican society. By combining these three women's stories, there's a sense of universality of this is what it's like to be a woman in her 70s and have lived the life she has, being a woman in these conditions. The film won the Panorama Audience Award at the Berlin Film Festival and has been selected as Costa Rica's official submission for the 97th Academy Award for Best International Feature Film. In this film, I'm going to review the film Memories of a Burning Body, and I'll explore how likely will it do in the Oscar race for Best International Feature Film. So let's roll and review that film. Before I review Memories of a Burning Body, let me introduce myself. My name is Paul, and I review the best of world cinema, and explore the race for Best International Feature Film Oscar, from countries selecting their submission until the final winner. Memories of a Burning Body is one of those films that's not particularly an acting experience. It's more a documentation of the female experience from a particular generation. While the acting is very good, the actors are pretty much just props for this anonymous narrative of these three women's voices. There are, of course, high drama pieces, in particular displaying situations of domestic violence, but there's also quieter moments where the character is procrastinating in the kitchen, bumbling around, trying to work out what to do. But it's space to recap those memories, recognizing that memory can be quite fragmented and quite dispersed. And sometimes you remember it well, sometimes you don't, and sometimes those memories are not strong enough to make a clear narrative. Despite merging three different women's stories together as one universal voice, it's particularly effective as exploring a number of feminist ideas. It shows, with the absence of sex education and a very religious conservative society, how women don't necessarily understand their bodies and how they learn to develop that understanding through what they feel, what they see, and what they experience. There's also an exploration of marriage and how the pressure to go into a marriage is intense for that generation, and some of the negative consequences, which shapes their views of relationships today. And I think one thing it does particularly well is explore what it's like to be a woman in their 70s, how they view sex and relationships, and actually how they can be content with being single or having a part-time lover or whatever it may be. It's about them finding themselves through all this trauma and difficulty they've previously experienced for being a woman. I think the thread running through it that's really effective is how these women have been knocked down through the patriarchal system and have to build themselves up into something very positive. There is nothing stronger than a woman that has been brought down and had to build herself up again.
Ser mujer es muy bonito. Yo siempre doy gracias a Dios de no haber nacido hombre. Ser mujer es muy lindo.
Teníamos 10 años cuando nos conocimos y nos enamoramos los dos el uno del otro, pero ninguno le dijo al otro que estaba enamorado. Estoy viva, y mientras esté viva, no voy a ser una vieja.
The narrative has a really poetic feel to it, which really explores the female body. Hence the title, Memories of a Burning Body, as if the body is burning with sexual desire, confusion, and pain. But there is also the message of how one can liberate oneself from the situation by going through trauma, by going through difficulty, and really true to use those situations to really find themselves and identify themselves. I think if I had to have one criticism of the film, is that it feels very universal, despite specifically focusing on Costa Rica. I feel that's the point of the director's ambition, is about showing how universal this experience for women. However, I feel they could have used different women from different parts of the world to make that case. I would have really enjoyed if they had incorporated a lot more local issues specific to Costa Rica about what the local political and religious orders were, which were only briefly covered through the religious schooling. For me, there was nothing that distinctly defined it as being from Costa Rica, but yet it is very Costa Rican. However, this is a relatively mild criticism, and I think the director's intentions to demonstrate that universal experience are still very valid. I would therefore give Memories of a Burning Body 3.5 stars, and it's currently ranked 7th out of the 15 Best International Feature Film Oscar submissions I have seen so far. So let's have a look at how well it could do in the Oscar race. It has received positive responses from critics so far, and if it was to make the shortlist, it will be due to word of mouth, because I don't think there's a big budgeted campaign going on. Costa Rica have submitted 13 films so far for the Best International Feature Film Oscar category. They've yet to win the award or make the nomination or shortlisting phase. However, one thing to admire is Costa Rica have really upped the quality of submissions they have been putting forward to Oscar voters. From great films such as Clara Soda and the director of Memories of a Burning Body's debut film, The Awakening of Ants, there's been high quality submissions that have yet to make it to that shortlisting phase. Realistically, I don't think Memories of a Burning Body will make it to that final 15 shortlist. And it's not because of the quality. It's mainly because it is very poetic, and poetic films do struggle to do well at the Oscar race, but also some, in particular male critics, might find it a bit too feminist and start raising objections about this is not all men, and that might impact on the voting. It's also blurring the lines between documentary and filmmaking, so it kind of creates that no man's land, which may put off some voters. However, what is really encouraging is that Costa Rica are starting to submit a lot of high quality films. And if this trend continues, it will not be too long until they get their first shortlisted or nominated film at the Oscars. So if you like my review and want to know more about the Oscar race for Best International Feature Film, do like this video, share it with friends, and subscribe to my channel, Global Film Pool.